COVID-19 continues to be an issue for the NFL. The enhanced protocols are kicked in as of tomorrow for every team across the board. I feel like this is just that last-ditch effort to avoid outbreaks, to avoid losing games, and to avoid the eventual necessity of putting everyone in a hotel, which for whatever reason the league is avoiding, the union is avoiding. No one wants to do it, and I understand it's a hardship, but the bigger hardship is losing game checks that will never come back, and I feel like that almost has to happen before everyone realizes we should just check into a hotel for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, if you look at the numbers the NFL came out with this week, putting pen to paper, here's what you figure. That in the first 3 months of this epidemic and of testing, August, September, and October, the NFL had 162 positive tests between close contact employees and players, okay? Coaches, equipment people, all that. Okay, 162. And in the last 2 weeks, they've had 108. And as you look at every day, the Los Angeles Rams have a positive. And by the way, the Rams, the first positive since the opening day of training camp when a rookie, I think it was Terrell Lewis, reported COVID positive. But they had not had a positive until Tuesday of this week. But you see it every day. It trickles in, trickles in, trickles in. So to me, I think what we're going to see when this week's numbers are reported next week, you're going to see almost exactly across the board the exact same number of players and key team officials being positive as they were in the first 3 months. So to me, I think it is a matter of time, Mike. I'm not trying to be a harbinger of doom, but I do think that it's illogical to expect that what is happening all over the country will not happen on at least one team.
Well, and I think we're being realistic. We've been realistic from the get-go. It's the people who refuse to acknowledge that this is a serious problem, even as the death toll crosses 250,000 with no signs of stopping on the way to 300, 400, and beyond. When you continue to send the players out into the community every day after practice and the numbers in the community are out of control, you make it impossible to implement the NFL's basic plan. And the basic plan, simple. We catch a guy who's positive in our testing net. We draw a line around him, and anyone who is in close contact gets removed from the facility during the incubation period. That's how they're dealing with one of the biggest donut holes in this pandemic, the delay between exposure and developing symptoms and shedding virus. That's fine as long as you only got one guy who's walking through the door positive. What's going to happen here, maybe by the middle of December, if not sooner, you're going to have 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys, all coming through positive at the same time. Then you have to remove them and anyone with whom they were in close contact. And before you know it, you're not going to have enough guys to field a team. That's where I think this is heading. That's why the CDC, and the CDC isn't doing it for the NFL, but I'm saying this is what the numbers are going up. The CDC all of a sudden is urging people not to travel for Thanksgiving. They see what's coming if we have all these little mini super spreader events in living rooms and dining rooms throughout the country next week. And everyone then goes back to their lives and keeps spreading it and spreading it and spreading it. That's when you're going to get to the point, Peter, where you don't have one guy at any given time who's positive on a team. You've got 5 or more.
Mike, the challenge is a very prominent club official told me over the last weekend was, the idea is to keep the one positive test to 1. Once it gets in your building, in your organization, and it becomes 5 or 10, that's when that team is in real trouble. And I think the one other thing to realize about what the NFL has shown that it will do, the NFL will force teams to play even if it means that they are at a distinct advantage. Do you remember before the season, Mike, when we said, you know what, if the Minnesota Vikings have 4 offensive linemen out with COVID, they're not going to force the Vikings to play the Bears this weekend because, too dangerous for the quarterback, doesn't give them enough chance. The NFL has changed its mind. The NFL thinks now that if you have enough warm bodies to play in this game, you're going to play in this game. And so that's why, to me, is one GM, we were talking about this the other day, he said, the practice squad has never been more important, and I've never spent more time on the practice squad than I have this year. Those 16 people, any of whom are going to be called upon at any time to have to save your bacon.
Peter, the pivot point, I believe, came at that Raiders-Buccaneers game that was supposed to be on Sunday Night Football. Yeah. It was flexed back to 4 Eastern in the event it had to be moved or postponed. That was when I think the league decided, you know what, it doesn't matter if you didn't have an offensive line in the building all week. It doesn't matter. We don't care. You have to play the game because let's just get the games played. Let's not delay it to Monday or Tuesday night. I know John Gruden was livid that it wasn't delayed. I was like, hey, we've had these Monday and Tuesday night games. I'd love to see Tampa Bay and the Raiders on a Monday or Tuesday night. No, ball's on the tee. We're going to kick it. We're going to get the games in, and we're going to move on and just keep going through the season.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.